Nanti awak join balik Oh, dah start dah. Okay, so Nusra saya keluar lah. Okay, sekejap kita tunggu lagi 1 minit. Kita tunggu yang lain masuk and then key in attendance. Dan kita akan start.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. Sorry kalau ni paksa kena pakai mask sebab ada orang kat keliling. Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good evening everyone. Okay, so for today's lecture, we're going to cover physical properties of alkane. Okay, so for alkane lah, kita akan cover yang alkane dulu. Okay, so the learning outcome for today's lesson is the first one. You should be able to explain the boiling point of alkane based on the molecular weight. Okay, and compare the boiling point for isomery alkanes, meaning alkane with the same number of carbon but different structural formula. Okay, and then the last one, you should be able to explain the boiling point of alkane and cycloalkane with the number of carbon. Okay, so the second learning outcome is you should be able to explain the solubility of alkane in water and also organic solvent. Okay, for this part of the course ini, kalau dalam organic chemistry ada banyak question yang berkaitan dengan explanation. So awak kena compare different compound, compare dia punya physical property semua tu, and then awak kena be able to explain lah macam mana. So normally for this kind of question, kalau untuk explanation ni markah dia selalu dalam 3 atau 4 markah, which is quite a lot lah. The explanation, so awak kena tahu what is the point that you need to include and how to explain. Macam mana kita nak explain tu. Okay. So for an alkane, okay, we start with the solubility of alkane in water. So kalau awak ingat lagi last semester waktu saya ajar chemical bonding, okay, waktu saya ajar chemical bonding. So senang je, kalau kita nak tahu either this compound itu boleh dissolve tak dengan compound yang lain itu, kita gunakan satu konsep itu yang kita panggil dia sebagai light dissolve light. Okay, it means that only compound with the same same predominant intermolecular forces sahaja yang dia boleh dissolve antara satu sama lain. So dia mesti ada same intermolecular forces baru dia boleh dissolve. Kalau tak ada, tak boleh. So kalau awak tengok a molecule of propane, if you try to dissolve an alkane like alkane in general and also cycloalkane in water. So we know that in water, the intermolecular forces that exist between a molecule of water adalah hydrogen, okay, hydrogen bond. Okay, for an alkane pula, sebab kalau kita tengok alkane, okay, alkane yang a simple alkane lah, yang maknanya mean dia hanya ada carbon, hydrogen tu hydrocarbon. So carbon and hydrogen, even though those two are different element, but the different in term of the electronegativity is small. So carbon hydrogen and also carbon-carbon bond in an alkane itu kita panggil sebagai non-polar. Okay, kalau non-polar, intermolecular forces yang kita ada adalah van der Waals, okay, van der Waals forces. Dan to be specific adalah London dispersion forces. Okay, so if you look at this, okay, kalau kita try dissolvekan alkane ataupun for this case adalah propane in water, they cannot dissolve each other. Reason dia sebab apa? Sebab alkane dia cannot form hydrogen bond with water molecule. Sebab macam saya kata tadi, in order to determine whether the molecule itu boleh dissolve antara satu sama lain ataupun tidak, kita menggunakan konsep light dissolve light. Means molecule with the same intermolecular forces saja yang boleh dissolve antara satu sama lain. Reason kenapa alkane tak boleh dissolve dalam water adalah disebabkan alkane ini dia ada van der Waals forces. Tapi dia tak boleh form hydrogen bond with water molecule. Okay, tapi it's the opposite one. Kalau kita ada alkane, kita dissolvekan dalam organic solvent. Okay, organic solvent itu adalah organic compound lah yang dalam bentuk solvent, yang kita jadikan dia sebagai solvent. So for example, kita boleh ada CCl4 which is trichloromethane, kita boleh ada CHCl3, trichloromethane ataupun yang ini kita panggil dia sebagai chloroform. Okay, benzene pun is another suitable organic solvent. Okay, so now kalau kita tengok, kalau kita ambil alkane, kita dissolvekan dalam organic solvent, dia boleh dissolve. Reason dia sebab apa? Sebab they have the same intermolecular forces. So kalau awak tengok benzene ni, okay, benzene ni kalau awak tengok semua, they only consist of carbon. Okay, kita hanya ada carbon dan kita ada hydrogen. And so we know that from earlier, carbon-carbon bond and also carbon-hydrogen bond is a non-polar. So kalau non-polar, dia akan ada London dispersion forces. Okay, London dispersion forces. Same goes with propane. Propane ni juga, since dia only made up of carbon-carbon and carbon-hydrogen bond, so dia juga ada London dispersion forces. So same intermolecular forces. So that means dia boleh dissolve antara satu sama lain. Nak tahu dia dissolve memang senang je. Kita gunakan konsep like dissolve like. Okay. So now, okay, kita solubility, ada apa-apa soalan berkaitan solubility? Any question?
Tak ada, sir.
Ada Okay, semua okay. Okay, now kita tengok pasal boiling point. Okay, so kita recall balik boiling point tu what is the factor that affect the value of the boiling point. Okay, so sekarang ini boiling point itu, okay, boiling point itu adalah kita nak, kali boiling point kita nak convert from a liquid. So let's say this is the structure of liquid. Kita nak convert dia kepada gas. Gas. So now, in order to convert the liquid kepada gas, so kita tengok dia punya intermolecular forces. So, kalau awak tengok the arrangement of particle in liquid, the particle tu are arranged quite closely even though they are not arranged in orderly manner. Kalau kita nak compare dengan solid. Tapi kalau kita compare dengan gas, liquid itu, particle tu kita susun is more closely together lah compared to gas. Sebab gas, each of the particle tu ataupun each the distance between the particle is very far apart. So that means the intermolecular forces between particle in gas is weaker compared to the intermolecular forces between the a molecule of a liquid. So sekarang ni kita nak overcome, kita nak weakenkan intermolecular forces tu. So the way we want to weaken the intermolecular forces is to by supplying energy. So sekarang ini, the stronger the intermolecular forces, okay, the stronger the intermolecular forces, the higher the energy needed for you to overcome so that the liquid itu can be converted into gas. So maknanya boiling point itu akan increase jugalah. So itu bermaksud the value of the boiling point itu dia reflect the strength of the intermolecular forces. The higher the value of the boiling point, that means the intermolecular forces that exist between the molecule itu is also stronger. The lower the boiling point, that means the intermolecular forces exist between the molecule also is weaker. Itu awak kena ingat. Itu main concept of the value of boiling point. Yang itu yang awak kena ingat. Sebab ini akan guide awak untuk explain atau awak nak compare nanti boiling point of different organic molecule itu. Awak kena ingat boiling point itu dia reflect the strength of the intermolecular forces. Okay. So, in general, we have three type of intermolecular forces. Kita ada hydrogen bonding, kita ada dipole-dipole dan kita ada London forces. So, dipole-dipole and London forces ni kita boleh satukan dalam van der Waals forces. So, hydrogen bonding, we know that is a stronger intermolecular forces compared to van der Waals. So, of course, if the molecule itu ada can form hydrogen bond between the molecule, so they will have a higher boiling point compared to molecule yang ada van der Waals forces. Tapi dan dalam van der Waals forces, we can further divide into two. We have a dipole-dipole interaction and also London dispersion forces. Dipole-dipole interaction ni they only exist for a polar molecule, London forces for a non-polar. Dan dipole-dipole is a stronger intermolecular forces. Okay, another key point that you need to take note with before explaining the boiling point of any organic compound adalah the boiling point. Okay, the boiling point tend to increase as the number of the carbon increase. Yang ni kita akan tengok kejap lagi lah kenapa reason dia. Dan the branching will decrease the boiling point. It means that the higher the value of branch for isomeric molecule, so the lower the the boiling point. Okay, so for the boiling point of an alkane, we can explain in terms of 3 different categories. First, we can compare the boiling point of alkane with a different molecular weight, and then we can compare the boiling point of for isomeric alkane. Isomeric itu means same number of carbon, same molecular weight, but different in terms of the structure. Okay, and then the last one we can compare the boiling point of alkane and also cyclic alkane with the same number of carbon. Apa je beza dia? Okay, so now in terms of the molecular weight, macam saya cakap tadi, as the number of the carbon increase, okay, the boiling point also tend to increase. Okay, kalau awak tengok sini, the boiling point for methane, okay, the boiling point for methane is 162 degree minus. Okay, for ethane now, saya add another carbon, awak tengok boiling point itu increase from negative 162 degree Celsius to negative 89 degree. And as I further added another carbon, the increase jadi negative 42. And before a butane, the negative 1. Okay, that means the smallest alkane itu is dia easily vaporize lah, maknanya dia easily become gas. Sebab itulah kalau kita punya petrol ataupun kita punya gas masak tu, kita tend to use carbon yang tak ada terlalu kita tend to use hydrocarbon yang tak ada terlalu sikit carbon dan tak ada terlalu banyak carbon. Sebab kalau terlalu banyak carbon, so akan mengambil masa yang lama lah, macam petrol semua tu untuk dia pick up. Kalau terlalu sikit pula carbon, dia senang vaporize nanti habislah kalau kita punya engine. Okay, so kalau awak tengok sini, the higher the number of carbon, okay, the boiling point increase. Tapi sebab apa? Sebab kita kena tengok alkane, okay, kita tengok dia punya intermolecular forces tu. Alkane, the intermolecular forces that exist between a molecule of alkane adalah van der Waals forces. So in general, van der Waals forces, there are 3 factors that will affect. First is polarizability. Okay, and then yang akan affect van der Waals forces adalah molecular weight. Dan lagi satu yang akan affect dia punya structure. Okay, polarizability increase, van der Waals forces will also increase. Molecular weight increase pun, van der Waals forces akan increase. So kalau structure dia become larger, so van der Waals forces pun akan increase. Ini yang awak kena tengok waktu kita nak explain the boiling point of alkane. Okay, so now as the number of the carbon increase, macam saya cakap tadi, so kalau lagi banyak carbon, the molecular size and also molecular weight dia juga akan increase. Okay, molecular weight dia juga akan increase. Okay, now a molecule of alkane with a greater number of carbon, okay, the molecular contact surface area dia pun akan meningkat. Okay, molecular contact surface area ni, okay, sebab kenapa kita kena fokus dekat this point, sebab intermolecular forces dia hanya akan form when the molecule itu are nearer to each other. Dia macam nearer to each other, maknanya the closer the molecule are located with each other, then the stronger the intermolecular forces. Okay, molecular contact surface area itu dia refer kepada how the molecule, the size ataupun the surface area taken when the molecule itu berada berdekatan antara satu sama lain. So let's say kalau saya ada molecule ethane, this one ethane, this one propane, okay, this one okay, butane. Okay, so kalau awak tengok ethane is alkane with 2 carbon. So if they are located near with each other, awak tengok the molecular contact surface area dia besar ni je. Now if I add another carbon, kita akan nampak the molecular contact surface area dia makin lama makin besar. Kalau saya tambah lagi satu carbon, kita tengok molecular contact surface area dia, mana a point where the molecule itu is in contact with each other tu makin lama makin besar as the number of carbon increase. So as the molecular contact surface area increase, the strength of the van der Waals also akan increase. Maknanya lagi banyak point molekul itu bersentuhan antara satu sama lain, the stronger the van der Waals forces. So the stronger the van der Waals forces, it means that more energy is needed to overcome. So that lagi banyak energy yang awak perlukan nak convert dia daripada liquid kepada gas untuk boilkan dia. So that is the reason why alkane ini, the boiling point is tend to increase as the number of the carbon itu increase. Okay, any question?
No, sir.
No,
Tak ada, sir.
Alright. Okay. So now, in terms of the isomery alkane pula, okay, isomery alkane refer to the alkane with the same number of carbon but different in terms of the structure. Okay, in general, for isomery alkane, okay, so the boiling point itu will tend to decrease as the number of branch increase. As the number of branch increase. Okay, ini juga dia ada relationship, dia ada kaitan dengan molecular. Okay, dia ada kaitan with molecular contact surface area. So now, so kalau kita tengok sini, ini kita ada pentane. Okay, pentane to methyl butane. So we have pentane, we have 2 methyl butane, and we have 2 okay, dimethyl propane. So kalau awak tengok bilangan number of carbon dia, pentane have 5 carbon, 2 methyl butane also have 5 carbon, 2 dimethyl propane also have 5 carbon. So these 3 alkane ini we call it as a isomery alkane because they have the same number of carbon. Tapi kalau kita tengok dia punya beza tak in term of the number of branch ataupun dia punya structure. Okay, 2 methyl butane, parent kita 4 carbon, 1 substituent. 2 dimethyl propane, we have 2 substituent. Okay, dan pentane, the number of branch in pentane ataupun number of substituent in pentane is equal to 0. So as the number of branch increase, kalau awak perasan, the size of the molecule itu makin lama become smaller. So kalau pentane dia straight je. So awak jadikan satu branch, awak dah cut satu carbon kan, dah cut satu carbon dia pendek, kita jadi ni. So kita cut lagi satu carbon, dia makin lama dia akan jadi macam compact. They tend to become more spherical. So kalau kita tengok dia punya in term of the molecular contact surface area, kalau pentane, kalau pentane, ini kita punya molecular contact surface area dia. Awak tengok dia kecil je. Dia agak besar lah. Okay, kalau 2 methyl butane, awak tengok the point of contact dia dah become smaller. Dah become smaller. Nah, kalau kita ada 2 dimethyl propane, so kalau awak tengok 2 dimethyl propane, the shape itu almost become spherical. So kalau spherical, so maknanya point of contact dia pun become smaller jugalah. So as the molecular contact surface area decrease as the number of branch increase, so the strength of van der Waals also akan become weaker. So kalau strength of van der Waals to become weaker, bermaksud less energy is needed to overcome the forces. So less energy needed, bermaksud the boiling point also will decrease as the number of branch increase. Kita tengok kepada molecular contact surface area dia. Itu beza dia antara isomery alkane dengan alkane with a different molecular weight. Okay. In term of the cycloalkane, kalau kita nak comparekan cycloalkane dengan dia punya uncyclic alkane with the same number of carbon. Okay, so contohnya kalau saya ada propane 3 carbon, okay, dan cyclic propane. Dan cyclopropane. Kalau awak tengok, the molecular contact surface area ataupun ruang untuk dipersentuhan dekat cyclopropane ini is larger compared to the acyclic alkane. So kalau dia punya molecular contact surface area dia larger, van der Waals forces become stronger. So van der Waals forces become stronger, more energy is needed to overcome. So boiling point also become higher. So if you look at the boiling point, so the boiling point of cycloalkane itu tend to become slightly higher. Dia slightly higher sahaja compared to the acyclic alkane with the same number of carbon. Okay, any questions setakat ini? Ada apa-apa soalan?
Tak ada, sir.
Ada. Okay. So now kita tengok example sebab awak kena tahu macam mana how to explain. Okay, normally the question macam sekali, normally the question will give you either 3 or 4 marks. Okay, so selalunya dia akan suruh awak susun dulu compound yang dia bagi tu, susun tak kisahlah in order of ascending order ke, descending order ke, and then after you arrange then you need to explain. Okay, So now example 1, arrange the following compounds in increasing order of boiling point. So increasing order of boiling point bermaksud from a smaller boiling point, okay, to the higher boiling point. Okay, so first kali awak kena tengok number of carbon dulu. Awak nak, sebelum kita check whether dia isomeric ke tak, we need to check dulu berapa je number of carbon dia. Okay, so the molecule A we have 2 carbon. Molecule B we have 4 carbon. Molecule C we have 3 carbon. So different number of carbon, so dia bukan isomeric alkane. Kalau different number of carbon, kita akan explain in term of the molecular weight. Okay, so now kita dah determinekan dia punya number of carbon, dan kita boleh arrange dia. Okay, increasing order of boiling point. So we know that for yang bukan isomeric alkane, when the number of carbon increase, okay, number of carbon increase, boiling point also akan increase. Okay, so smaller boiling point kita adalah A, and then C sebab C ada 3 carbon, and then B. So ini adalah increasing, okay, increasing order of boiling point. Okay, so selalunya sebelum saya explain, saya akan buat dulu dia punya sequence. Dan normally this sequence ni kalau awak tulis betul-betul ikut soalan. Kalau soalan tu suruh increasing lah. Education ask you to arrange in descending order, then descending lah, awak ikut soalan. So selalunya for this kind of sequence ni awak akan dapat 1 markah. Okay, now kita dah susun dah, kita nak explain. So nak explain, you need to know apa je point yang kita kena ada. Okay, apa yang point kena ada. Awak kena ingat waktu kita nak explain sesuatu, kita kena macam bercerita. Kita kena cerita in detail, step by step. Awak tak boleh explanation awak tu bertabur. Kalau awak baca novel pun, kalau novel tu berterabur, macam tak best kan? Sama juga kalau macam awak explainkan something. Kita nak explain something, dia mesti ada smooth dia punya flow. Nampak dia punya plot penceritaan tu. Okay, so normally kalau kita nak compare, atau kita explain, first kali kita akan state dia punya similarity dia ataupun dia punya differences dia. Okay, itu first kali kita akan explain lah. Okay, so kalau macam ni kita boleh explain in term of the differences kan? Sebab similarity dia, all these 3 compounds is an alkane, but the difference that is in term of number of carbon. So awak cerita lah. So alkane A consists of 2 carbon, alkane B consists of 4 carbon, and alkane C consists of 3 carbon. Okay, dah cerita, dah state, dah general statement tu. Okay, kita ceritakan dia punya differences dia. So kita ceritalah, as the number of carbon increase, okay, molecular weight also increase. Okay, kalau molecular weight also increase, molecular size also akan increase. So now molecular size increase. So sebab sekarang ni kita nak cerita tentang van der Waals forces kan, dan van der Waals forces itu dia mesti relate balik dengan point of contact itu. Sebab point of contact itulah yang akan wujudnya van der Waals forces tu. Sebab lagi banyak point of contact antara molekul itu, lagi stronger awak punya van der Waals forces. So kita cerita tentang molecular contact surface area. So dah cerita pasal molecular contact surface area, kita tengok apa je kaitan dia. So kalau molecular contact surface area meningkat, the strength of van der Waals forces also will increase. So when the strength of van der Waals forces increase, okay, sebab kita kena ingat boiling point ini dia reflect the strength of the intermolecular forces. So van der Waals forces increase, energy needed to overcome also increase. So boiling point will also increase. Awak nampak kan flow dia? Kita kena cerita from the start sampai habis, kita kena cerita. Okay, so dalam slide ni saya dah upload tau dalam GC semalam. Kalau awak perasan, dalam tu dah saya terangkan dah. So cakap compound A, C and B are alkane with 2, 3 and 4 carbon atom respectively. Ni saya cerita tentang dia punya general statement tu. Okay, and then sebab ini kalau kita tengok the different number of carbon kan. So different number of carbon, kita akan cerita tentang dia punya molecular weight. So the molecular weight and also the molecular size of A is less than C and then B. Awak boleh tahu buat sequence macam ni. Okay, Selalunya kalau soalan tu dia bagi structure je, okay, soalan dia bagi structure, dia tak bagi nama, dia tak bagi labeling kan. Okay, kita boleh labelkan dia, tapi awak tahu awak nak labelkan tu, awak justify dalam awak jawapan. Awak lukis dulu structure ni, awak labelkan sebagai A. So nanti dalam jawapan tu tak perlulah awak tulis nama yang panjang-panjang tu. Kita ringkaskan. Dan awak boleh je buat sequence macam ni guna simbol less than greater than ni. Dia diterima tak? So molecular weight and molecular size. Okay, lepas tu awak tengok saya explain tentang molecular contact surface area. So saya compare kan. Saya kena compare kan. So molecular contact surface area of A is smaller compared to C and C is smaller compared to B. So molecular contact surface area, lepas tu saya cerita pula tentang dia punya strength of van der Waals forces. And then energy needed, and then last sekali kita cerita tentang boiling point. Okay ya. Nak explain tu kena ada plot dia, kena ada flow penceritaan tu. Okay, now. So arrange the following compound. Ni example tu Arrange the following compound in descending order of boiling point. Okay, descending order bermaksud from a higher to lower. Okay, so macam saya kata tadi, kita semak dulu dia punya number of carbon total number of total number of carbon. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, these 3 alkane ni, it have 5 carbon. Tapi kita tengok dia punya structure dia ada berbeza. So kita akan terangkan in term of isomeric. Okay, we're going to explain in term of isomeric alkane. Kita akan terangkan in term of isomeric alkane. So kita ingat, dalam isomeric alkane, as the number of branch increase, boiling point will decrease. So descending order, maknanya yang the highest boiling point is the one that have the least number of branch. So sekarang kita tengok pentane yang ada least number of branch. So pentane have higher boiling point compared to 2-methyl butane, because 2-methyl butane kita hanya ada satu je branch. And then the lowest boiling point adalah 2,2-dimethyl propane. Reason dia sebab apa? Sebab 2,2-dimethyl propane dia ada 2 branch. So descending order of boiling point. Okay. So now kita macam saya kata tadi, kita nak explain, kita kena start dengan similarity je. So similarity dia, these 3 compound, the similarity that they have is they have the same number of carbon. Same number of carbon mean they have the same molecular weight. Itu similarity dia. Same number of carbon mean they have the same molecular weight. Okay, so sekarang kita tengok dia punya differences. Kalau kita start tengok dia punya differences. So awak tengok, okay, pentane dia ada 0 branch. Okay, 2-methyl butane, saya tulis MB je lah Okay, 2-methyl butane have 1 branch. Okay, 2,2-dimethyl propane, kita ada 2 branch. Okay. So awak cakap apa tu, kita ceritakanlah. So kalau awak tengok, as the number of branch increase, the size of the molecule tu become smaller and smaller. So kita ceritalah tentang dia punya molecular size. Molecular size become smaller. So molecular contact surface area also will become smaller. So kalau ni smaller, so bermaksud the strength of the van der Waals forces also become weaker. So energy needed also lower. So boiling point also akan jadi lower. So betul awak terangkanlah, awak buatlah dalam bentuk ayat. So kalau awak tengok sini, ni suggested je lah. Okay, so 2,2-dimethyl propane, 2-methyl butane and pentane have the same molecular weight. So as these 3 compound are isomeric alkane with 5 carbon. So kalau awak tengok, saya memang detailkan berapa carbon semua tu. Okay, so the number of branch, okay, the molecular size and also the molecular contact surface area of pentane is larger than 2-methyl butane and is larger than compared to 2,2-dimethyl propane. Dia sama je macam saya terangkan tadi, cuma yang ini dalam proper sentence lah. Yang ini yang dalam proper sentence. Okay, ada apa-apa soalan?
Tak ada, sir.
Okay, kalau tak ada, kita